Welcome to the first Demarcation Media Top 10 video. I've been wanting to do some Top 10 videos for a while, but I had an idea that I really just couldn't pass up on. So here we are at the first one. And today I'm going to be going through the top 10 rarest figures in my collection. Well, let me correct that. Rarest Mega Construx figures. We're not even going to go into the Lego, and I don't have enough action figures to even make a top 10 for that. So today we're going to be doing the top 10 rarest Mega Construx figures in my collection. So let's jump right in. Number 10 on the list is the Halo Heroes Spartan Jerome. Now I'm basing this list off of a couple things. First of all, it's just kind of how easy I see it to get the figures. So I frequently will look on eBay to see prices of different figures, and I'll see listings on Discord and Reddit on the Mega Construx Facebook groups, and I can see kind of what people are selling, what people are not selling, what people are looking for. And then I'm also basing it on how easy it is to get the figure, so how often they show up for sale and how pricey they are, and also kind of how well they were distributed when it came out. If I had made this video a year or so ago, Jerome would have been higher on the list, but lately he's been getting more and more common. He's been showing up a lot on like eBay and Mercari and stuff, and his prices are steadily going down. That's, I think, in part due to the fact that we just got a new Jerome in the 20th pack, so now people want the newer versions, and this version is less valuable. Still, he will run you a fair amount of money if you want to buy him, especially sealed. I got this guy for like 15, I think, but on average, he's at least above like 20 or 25, higher if he is sealed. So the fact that he is getting so common now, though, makes him number 10 on the list, because, you know, just go to eBay, search up Spartan Mega Construx Spartan Jerome, and you'll find plenty of listings to choose from. Number 9 is Spartan George. This is the Halo Heroes Spartan George, and this guy is one that I didn't originally expect to put on the list, but he has done the opposite of Jerome, and he has gotten more rare. When he first came out, that Halo Heroes series, at least from what I could see, was pretty well distributed. I was pretty new to collecting then. This guy was my first Halo Heroes, so I can't say for sure, but I can say for sure that my target had a fair bit of them, and they hung around for a while. So I think that probably shows that it was pretty easy to find at the time. And then he was one of the cheaper members of Noble Team for a handful of months at the very least. Maybe it was just because I wasn't paying enough attention to the collecting scene at the time, but it seemed to me that he stayed pretty cheap for upwards of a year. And then lately, for some reason, there's been a sudden rise in demand for this guy, and he has gotten not only expensive, but there doesn't seem to be as many people selling him. Like, a lot of people looking for him, not as many people selling him. And that landed him on this list at the number 9 spot. He is an absolutely fantastic figure. But he could become kind of obsolete once the new Halo Universe Falcon comes out. So I'm very curious to see if this guy's spot on the top 10 list will become kind of not a thing anymore. Definitely have to redo this in like a year or so, but for now, George gets the number 9 spot. Number 8 is Lord Shax. This guy came in one set, and wait, let's see, what was that? The Cabal Gladiator Battle, which I believe I reviewed that set a while back. So he only ever came in one set, which that's fairly common for Mega Construx figures. But the one set became quickly pretty expensive, as with most of the Destiny sets when the Destiny line ended. And it's also kind of hard to find. It's not one of the most rare Destiny sets, but it's not one of the most common either. It kind of falls in the middle, and that makes Shax harder to get. You can get him $30, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on who you get it from. And there are, at least last I checked, there are a fair few people that will still sell him, which is why he is on the number 8 spot and not higher. But he is, as far as I can tell, still pretty sought after. And he is an absolutely fantastic looking figure overall. Just a really great example of the Destiny line in general. So he gets the number 8 spot. Kind of wish I could have put him higher just because I like this figure a lot, but he is fairly easy to get your hands on. The number 7 spot goes to the Halo Heroes Series 1 Buck. Now, this guy isn't necessarily hard to get exactly. He's got a pretty good handful of listings on eBay, and you might even argue that he doesn't deserve the number 7 spot, but he has retained quite a bit of value. He will cost you probably $30 at the very least to get your hands on him, if you don't mind paying for him out of the package and maybe missing his stand. In the package, he's going to be a lot more than 30, which is why I give him the number 7 spot. He's also still pretty sought after, but like George, we may see him become obsolete in the near future because there is a rumored Alpha 9 set for the Universe Wave, and that might just completely replace Buck and knock him totally off the list, but for now, he gets the number 7 spot. He is a very cool figure. Like I said in my review for Alpha 9, he's a good stand-in for just a generic ODST if you need one. The number 6 spot goes to this Marine right here. Now, this guy doesn't have exactly an official name, but this guy is a Halo 4 Marine from the UNSC Weapons Pack 2 set. Now, the reason this guy is on the list is because that set was a very weird little set because it came out right during the transition from old articulation to new articulation. And there are 2 versions of the set, one with an old figure, one with a new. And the ones with the new had a very limited run. Actually, I think the set in general had a very limited run. And finding sealed copies of this set with the new version is pretty much impossible. I've tried. I've looked and looked. I didn't find any, only the old versions. And then finding this dude by himself is a little bit difficult as well. People will sell him from time to time for not that much, like between 9 and 15 each, which is not a bad price, not compared to like some of the Halo heroes, but actually finding them is the hard part because they pop up very rarely and usually they get snatched up pretty quick. I'm lucky to have a whole squad of these guys, but I know a lot of people want to get their hands on them and not many people have the luck to find them because it was such a weird set. It just doesn't compute to me why it was so elusive. They switched it over and then discontinued it, and that was that. And now this absolutely fantastic figure is a very ghost-like figure. I've only seen a couple other people. I think I've seen probably about 4 other people who own some. And only like one other person that had a larger like squad. Usually they can be found in 1s or 2s. Landing at number 5, the halfway point, we have the Halo Heroes Spartan Carter. This guy was both poorly distributed from what I can tell, and he is still really sought after, and he's also really expensive. So a combination of those things makes this guy one of the more legendary Halo heroes. He's kind of the holy grail figure for a lot of people, the white whale for a lot of people, and he is a very good figure, but he has been slightly outmoded by the 20th anniversary Carter, and there's another version of Carter coming in the Falcon, which, again, as with George, might kick this guy off the list. But for now, he still holds the spot as one of the most legendary Halo heroes you can obtain at the moment. He does look very, very nice. But that Falcon version, I think he's gonna end up on top. Coming in at number 4, we have the Statue Chief figure. This was the Foxtrot Rare, I think? Or was it a secret rare? I think it was a secret rare. I was not collecting at the time, so I'm not super familiar with Foxtrot other than the handful of the blind bags that I got a while back. I think that was the one with the drone. This figure is very, very unique. You can't miss him in a pile of figures. Like if you're looking at a lot or something online and he's in there, you will see him right away. He's all done in this kind of sandy, gravelly, weird mixed plastic. And he's got the Halo 4 Chief mold. He has a very marble looking AR, and he just looks like a statue. The fact that he's an action figure, though, that's a statue, is kind of cool because you can change the pose of the statue depending on what kind of a scene you want. So I think that's pretty cool. He is still pretty pricey to this day. I think it's not too hard to find him on eBay, but you will have to pay a fair bit to get him. Since he was one of the secret rares, people want to hang on to him, and the people that do want to sell him tend to want to get their money's worth. And I don't foresee this guy losing value anytime soon. I don't think Mega is going to remake this figure at any point in the near future. We are in the top 3 now. Coming in at the number 3 place is the Spartan Warmaster from the Spartan Strike game. This comes from the Kestrel Strike, UNSC Kestrel Strike, I think that's what it's called, set. That set came with like Kestrel, this dude, an ODST, and some drones? No, not drones. Prometheans. That's what it was, I think. I think it came with some Prometheans. And this dude is one of those figures that people still want him. There was not a ton of them, not a ton of those sets like readily available when it was released. And as a result, this guy is not readily available online for purchase. The ones that you can find are pretty expensive, and a lot of people don't want to necessarily pay that much. He looks absolutely fantastic. He looks basically like a Halo Heroes figure. That's the level of quality here. Paint, even on the back of the leg armor, which is fantastic. But yeah, he's definitely gonna run you a pretty penny if you actually manage to find someone selling him. The number 2 spot goes to Icora Ray. This figure came in the final wave of Destiny, in the Destiny 2 sets. She came in the, what is it called? The Thresher? Yeah, the Thresher. The little ship that looks like a micro version of the Cabal Harvester. And while the Harvester was bigger and more expensive, the Thresher was more difficult to actually track down, which makes Icora pretty darn hard to find. Sometimes it's hard to even find one for any price, and then when you do find one, she is quite expensive, especially since she's a named character and a member of the Vanguard. That makes her quite desirable, and a lot of people want to hang on to theirs, which is why finding someone selling one is difficult, because if you do find a person selling her, chances are it will be a scalper. Very cool figure though, just quite expensive. Coming in at the number 1 spot, arguably the most rare and legendary Mega Construx figure of them all, Cade 6. Now, I'm sure there's a couple of the Halo figures, especially the Series 5 ones, that you could argue that is more rare. But let me tell you this. I tried to get a Cade figure for a couple months straight, and there was literally no listings on eBay at all for him. There was nothing. I looked all over the place. Nobody was selling one anywhere. And even to this day, I very, very, very rarely see him pop up. And when he does, people want at least $70 for him. More like 80 to 100. 70 is kind of on the low end. He's just such a well-loved character. And the set was so big and not exactly the greatest distribution for that one, I don't think. Again, I wasn't collecting at the time, so take that with a grain of salt. But from what I can tell, it wasn't the best distributed, and he's still very, very sought after. And finding one that's complete and not missing, say, Ace of Spades or his cape or his knife is so hard. It's so hard. It's not even funny how hard it is to track down this guy. Like, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And for that, he gets the #1 spot as the most rare figure in my whole collection. Well, there you have it. That is the top 10 rarest figures in my whole collection. Now, I'm curious. Would you guys have arranged this differently? How would you have set up this lineup in terms of rarity? And what are your top 10 rarest figures, either in your collection or just of Mega Construx in general? I would love to hear what you guys think. And let me know what other things you want to see in these top 10 videos. I have a couple ideas, but for the most part, I am pretty open on getting ideas for what you guys want to see for this. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.